Hey there everybody, my name is Keno and welcome back to your Toronto Blue Jays franchise mode series here on the channel. Now that last episode ended with a little bit of heartbreak on my part because I thought we could sneak into a postseason appearance. I thought we could do it, but we fell a little short of it. Maybe I could have made some different changes in the lineup and the pitching rotation to get us over that hump, but I was just unsuccessful at the end of the day. But we're here in our first offseason with this club, and I think we're looking pretty okay. Taking a look through our roster as I was doing just prior to starting filming, I saw that our pitching is looking pretty decent with Gosman, Berrios, Puck, Rogers, Roki Sasaki ready to come up, Mike Soroka, Bowden Francis. Apparently, I was hearing play-by-play them calling him Bowden Francis, so I'm going to continue with that, as well as prospects like Ricky Tiedemann, who's a 75 overall, A potential at 22. He's going to be a star for us. Brendan Barreira is also looking pretty damn good. I think we're pretty solid when it comes to starting pitching, but I'm not going to shy away from making any additions to this team if it pushes us over the edge. Relief pitching, still looking pretty good. I mean, Swanson, Rodriguez, Kopech, Green, Cabrera, Zeleda, Pearson, all pretty damn good options for us, but there are a lot available in free agency, so if we have to add, we will. Closing pitching, we did add Felix Bautista at the end of last season, pretty much around the trade deadline, and he stumbled for us a bit, but we have our superstar prospect Derek Harvey coming up, 70 overall, A potential at 18 years old. Oh boy, am I excited. We don't have Jordan Romano extended yet, but I'll get to that in a few minutes, along with all the other contracts that are expired. Catchers, we have Jansen, we have Kirk. We might need to add one more depth piece, in my opinion. That's what I'd feel more comfortable with, but for now, we're good here. Obviously, you know we're good at first base with Vlad Guerrero Jr. at 93 overall, A potential at 26. And we're pretty solid at second base with Nico Horner and Cade Doughty and Josh Kajevich as depth past him. Correct me if I'm wrong, you'll have to go back, maybe I'll go back. I believe Horner was B potential when we acquired him. 83 overall, B potential. He's now 85 overall, A potential. Holy smokes. At third base, we have Munetaka Murakami, who we signed just at the trade deadline last season, as well as Orelvis Martinez, who's looking pretty damn good. And then depth pieces in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Andrew Bechtold. And don't forget that we played Andrew Vaughn most of this season at third base because our first base was taken up. Now, he did drop to a B potential, and I'd love to get him back up to that A, but he went up to a 77 overall, and he was really decent for us. A 269 batting average, 332 on-base percentage for a 794 OPS. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. With 65 RBIs and 23 home runs. That's really good production. So, with that being said, do we need to add to our infield? I don't really think so. I mean, our bases are pretty covered, and then at shortstop, we have Bo Bichette, who looks amazing, as well as Leo Jimenez, who we can possibly get to develop, and Arjun Amala. I think we're pretty set for our infield. And pitching, and relief pitching, and closing pitching. When it comes to the outfield, we're a little weaker, that's for sure. I mean, we have Dalton Varsho, 81, 28 years old with B potential, and he did okay for us this season. The batting average was really low, but he still got 43 RBI and 11 home runs, which isn't too bad, and he had a 292 on-base percentage, so I'm not sure what to think about him. Past him, we have David Schneider, who I do have currently at the designated hitter position, but look at his utility ability. That rhymed. That was funny. He can play left field, right field, first, second, third, and shortstop. You love to see that. And then his stats, he didn't do too bad either. 8 home runs, 45 RBI, 266 batting average with a 354 on-base percentage and a 742 OPS. You love it. You love to see that. David Schneider's not going anywhere. And that might be the only reason I keep Dalton Varsho, is because I do consider him kind of a utility player as well, being able to play the entire outfield plus catcher. Past them, we have Alan Roden, who I've offered a contract to keep him for depth, and then Emmanuel Bonilla, who's a decent prospect for us. Center fielders, we did bring in both Pete Crow Armstrong and Colton Cowser. Now, Colton Cowser is 2 years older than Pete Crow Armstrong, and he's 1 overall less, but they both still have that A potential, and if I can get them into the outfield in general, that'd be beautiful for us. And I mean, Pete Crow Armstrong didn't do too bad. I don't want to keep saying Pete Crow Armstrong because it's such a long name, so I'm just going to call him PCA. PCA didn't do too bad for us, honestly. 39 RBI, 8 home runs, a 257 batting average with a 768 OPS. You love to see that. So I'm feeling pretty confident when it comes to both our left and center field currently. And then at right field, we still have Kerry Carpenter, 82 overall at 27 with B potential, and George Springer for this year and next, 82 overall at B potential, even though he's 35. And then depth in Nathan Lucas and Jace Barofin. We're doing pretty damn good. And as I'd mentioned, with contracts that expired, I offered a whole bunch of different contracts out to some of our younger players: Roki Sasaki, Bowden Francis, Ricky Tiedemann, Alan Roden, Yasser Zaleda, Lucas, Baroa, Eden, Barreria, Danner, Jimenez, Palmigiani, I think that's right, Van Eek, Dallas, Carson, Dowdy, Diaz, Nunez, Mako, Ponce, Sanchez, Nimala, Schultz, Fraze, Tolman, Verhoeven, Hernandez, Kazovic, Geraldo, Younger, and Shaw. So you can see that I wanted to keep a lot of this core and a lot of the depth pieces still together because that's what I felt comfortable with. When it comes to salary arbitration, though, I have not approached this yet. We do have a few players that need contracts, including AJ Puck, Dalton Varsho, Jordan Romano, Eric Swanson, Michael Kopech, Genesis Cabrera, and Nate Pearson. So we're going to have to give them some contracts if I want to keep them around. Some of them we might have to let go. Now, first and foremost, with AJ Puck, he wants 5 years, $36.5 million total for $7.3 million a year. At 29, I'm not giving him that. He did very well for us, not gonna lie, last season, with a 3.94 ERA and a 12-11 win-loss ratio, 136 strikeouts. I was pretty impressed with bringing him in and having the success he did, but I still don't feel comfortable giving him 5 years. But with a little bit of poking around, I found out that I could give him 2 years at a grand total $6.6 million for $3.3 million a year, and he still feels pretty interested in that. In fact, that's what he wants. So we will give AJ Puck this contract, 2 years, $6.6 million total, and see if he accepts that. Same goes for Eric Swanson at 31, nowhere near, in my mind, am I giving him 5 years. Not even a chance in hell. But if we lower it, he's still okay with a 2-year contract, even a 1-year contract. So I don't feel too scared of giving him a 1-year, $3.8 million contract as he's asking for, because I want to save as much money as possible, if I'm being completely honest. Now, when it comes to Michael Kopech, he's looking for 5 years in term, and I'm not feeling comfortable with that at all. But if we try to lower his term, his asking price goes up. But I have found a comfortable place. I'll give him 1 year around $3.2 million with the bullpen role, and hopefully he'll sign for that, because I don't want to give him term when I haven't really seen what he can do in the MLB yet. So 1 year, $3.2 million for Michael Kopech, and we'll see if he accepts that. Genesis Cabrera is much the same, where he wants 5 years at 28, and I haven't really seen him in the MLB too much lately. So with that being said, we'll give him the bullpen role, but not giving him 15 years. I'll drop him down to 1 year at around $1.6 million. Actually, I'll give him what he's looking for. $1.8 million is not breaking my bank. So we'll give Genesis Cabrera 1 year, $1.8 million, and give him some opportunity. Although he is 73 overall at 28, I'm not sure how much he'll develop at this point. And then Nate Pearson at 28 as well, 72 overall. He's asking for a lot. He didn't do too bad, I'm not gonna lie about that, but I can't give him that term. Luckily, his asking price seems to drop as we lower his term, so we can probably get away with giving him a 2-year, $4 million total for $2 million a year, because he kind of earned it. He did fairly well with us. That being said, I still look to lower it, and I'm gonna give him 1 year, $1.5 million in a depth role so that I don't hurt his feelings when I don't play him too much. But let's see if he accepts that. That's all of our relief pitchers offered contracts. Now, closing pitchers is gonna be a little different, because Romano wants 5 years at 31, and he wants it for $6.4 million a year. He did decently, but we couldn't even trust him as the closer at some points of the season, so I don't want to give him that. And unfortunately, when I lower his term, his asking price just goes up. So I think for Jordan Romano, we're gonna have to wait. I mean, I wouldn't mind giving him maybe 2 years at $7.8 million just to keep him in the organization, add him to the bullpen, not as the closer, see what happens. I don't know. Maybe that works. Maybe that works out for me. Let's give him 2 years, $15 million total, but I don't feel comfortable with it. Maybe it's somebody we move on from. I'll offer it to him though. And then finally, we have Dalton Varsho at 28 years old, looking for term and money, and I don't want to give him either really. But he did decently. He just didn't have a high batting average. That's what I had a problem with. Luckily, if we lower his term, his asking price does drop a little bit. So we'll give him 2 years, or maybe 1 year at $7 million, maybe a little lower, around $6.5 million. Yeah, so we'll give Dalton Varsho a 1 year, $6.5 million deal and see if he accepts that. I'm not too sure how I feel about all these short-term contracts, but we'll see how they play out for us. But that is it. That is all of our arbitration eligible contracts offered extensions. If they don't accept, we'll have to see what we do. Now, we've dealt with tendering contracts, we've looked at what our roster looks like currently, and we have offered out salary contracts for our salary arbitration eligible players. Now it's time to look at what's available in free agency, and if you see, there are some good players off the bat. 93 overall Juan Soto at right field, 92 overall closing pitcher Tanner Scott, 91 overall starting pitcher Corbin Burns, or 90 overall first baseman Pete Alonso. There's a lot of good superstar options for us. Now, I've already offered out a few contracts to some rookies here. Frankie Sedino looks pretty okay. I mean, 59 overall at B potential at 23 years old. Not too bad. He might be a bit of a stretch to grow, but it's still worth the option. Then you have Dan Crook, who's a center fielder, 57 overall, B potential at 21. So he's a little closer to being a feasible option for us developmentally wise. And then you have shortstop Ozzie Mesa, 52 overall, B potential at 21. Definitely still a bit of a long shot, but within the realm of possibility nonetheless. Past that though, it's on to the big names. And I'll be honest, part of the reason I showed you guys our in-depth roster and what we have currently and what's coming up is because I wanted you guys to get the same feeling I do, where I say that I'm not sure how much of a big player we're going to be at this year's free agency. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we're not offering out contracts and we're not going to try to strengthen this team and make them a winner as soon as we possibly can, but I don't know if we need to be throwing everything at the wall to get it done. Starting pitching, I could obviously offer Corbin Burns a contract, have him come in, a 91 overall, A potential at 30 years old. I mean, he could be a star for us. He could do really well. I'm not sure if we're in that market though. We'll have to take a look. If you guys want, I can bring back Yusei Kikuchi, but at that point, I don't see the need to do it. If we're not bringing in like one of Corbin Burns or Shane Bieber, I don't think there's really a market here for us. Relief pitching was a place that I said that I wanted to add in because there's so much depth here. Jeff Hoffman, AJ Minter, Phil Matone, Matt Strom, Matt Moore, Sean Armstrong, Craig Kimbrell, Hector Neris. You know, there's so many different options here that we could bring on board. I think if I was going to though, again, it'd probably be one of the better options, whether it be Phil Matone, AJ Minter, or Jeff Hoffman. I'll go through and decide that, but one of them is definitely getting a contract. There is Tanner Scott available at closing pitching, 92 overall, A potential at 30 years old. He's done pretty okay in my opinion. I mean, an 0.85 whip as the closer with 35 saves on the season is not bad, but we have Felix Bautista, we possibly have Jordan Romano coming back, and we have our superstar prospect in Derek Harvey. Do we need Tanner Scott? I don't think so. So that might be somebody we pass on right off the bat. Catchers, there's nobody. Maybe Gary Sanchez has depth, but past that, I don't think we need anything else. Obviously, at first base, there is Pete Alonso, 90 overall, A potential at 30 years old, and he had a really good season with 105 RBI, 36 home runs, a 269 batting average, and an 844 OPS. Yeah, you love to see those stats. I wouldn't mind it, but he only plays first base, and we have Vlad Guerrero Jr. there. And yes, Vlad Guerrero Jr. can swap to third base. He has that as a secondary position, and then we'd have Pete Alonso, Nico Horner, and Bo Bichette with Vlad Guerrero Jr. rounding off our infield. But I still want to give an option for depth and development, and we have Munetaka Murakami, we have Orelvis Martinez, and we have Andrew Vaughn. Do we need Pete Alonso to get us over the top? I don't know. If I was going to sign a first baseman, it'd possibly be one of Joey Gallo or Paul Goldschmidt. Both of them veteran options. I mean, Gallo's only 31, but he did crazy this season with 13 home runs and 31 RBIs at 171 at-bats with a 263 batting average and a 905 OPS. Those are stats that I like to see. He could be a good option, and he can play first, third, left, center, and right field. I think Joey Gallo is going to get a contract, if anything. Paul Goldschmidt, another type of player that I might bring in as a DH, 75 overall at 37 with that A potential, so he might drop off more, but again, 808 on base percentage with a 278 batting average and 83 RBI this season. That's not too bad. For now, I'm going to put Pete Alonso on the kind of like the holding pattern. I'm going to wait to see about him. Second base, we have Nico Horner. I mean, Gleyber Torres is here, and he looks good. B potential at 28 with 87 overall, 249 batting average with 68 RBIs this season and a 724 OPS. Yeah, I'd love to bring him in. He can also play third base and shortstop. Obviously, we don't need somebody to play shortstop, and we don't need somebody to play second base, so if we grab Torres, he'd be at third base. I don't think we need him. I really don't. Shortstop, there is Willy Adames available, 87 overall, B potential at 29, who can play shortstop, second, and third base. Again, do we need him? I don't know. The 81 RBI is calling out to me, and that 764 OPS is pretty interesting, but again, we're going to put somebody back if we bring in an infielder. One person I am going to offer a contract to is Lee Lee, the 60 overall shortstop who's only 19 years old. So we'll give him a contract for depth reasons and because his name's awesome. Now, when it gets to the outfield, that's where I'm a little more willing to make moves. I mean, Teoscar Hernandez looks decent, 32 years old, 87 overall B potential. He had a really good season, 94 RBI, 31 home runs, a 302 batting average, 884 OPS. Yeah, I could definitely bring him in. We could bring in JD Martinez as that depth designated hitter option, 45 home runs, 104 RBI, 894 OPS. Yeah, that's definitely somebody I would consider as a designated hitter for us. Still not sure though. We know how Kevin Kiermaier did for us. He did pretty rough, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not too interested in bringing him back if I'm being fully honest. But now, who you guys are really waiting for? Juan Soto, 93 overall, A potential at 26. And you know what? He didn't do too bad. 88 RBI, 26 home runs, 264 batting average, 862 OPS. He looks pretty damn good, in my opinion. If we brought him in, he would definitely knock Kerry Carpenter out of that right field eternally and put him onto the left field and maybe bump Dalton Varsho down a bit, or maybe move Varsho over to center. There would have to be some gymnastics performed to get it to work, but it could still work. And he's asking for 5 years, and at 26, I'm not too opposed to doing that. Hell, I might even want to go up a little more, but then the money goes up and the interest goes down. Now, I personally don't have a problem, like I said, giving him term. I would like to give him 3 years at around $81 million for $27 million a year total. But I don't have a problem if I have to offer him the 5 years at roughly $160 million altogether for that $32 million a year to lock him up for sure. But you know what? I think I feel more comfortable with the 3 years, $82.5 million total, $27.5 million a year. It's a little bit over what he's asking for. I think this is a really good contract to give him. Even though it doesn't lock it up for long, I think we can still hit with this contract. So let's see if Juan Soto will accept that offer. I mean, it's the highest interest he has with the team. We could definitely go lower. In fact, I think he would take a 3-year $75 million total deal for $25 million a year. And look at that, still dwarfing what the New York Yankees are offering him at 115.7 over 6 years. So I think we'll offer him in that contract. If he accepts it, that's great. If not, I mean, we have a pretty strong outfield. Now, as I said, I wanted to offer a reliever a contract, or at least 2 relievers a contract. And I was looking at Jeff Hoffman, but his ERA was pretty high last season, and his WHIP was pretty high compared to a really high asking price as well. So I felt it would be better if we went with this option, and I'm really going to butcher it, but I believe it's Jonathan Loaiziga. I'm going to say that. You guys let me know in the comments down below, but I'm going to give Loaiziga a contract, 2 years, $3.3 million total, see if he accepts that, and I'll put him as a bullpen option to jump up that interest with signing for us. And then I'm going to give Matt Strom a contract because he did pretty good. I'm going to give him $1 million less than what he's asking for with the bullpen option and see if he accepts it, because I don't think anyone else is interested. Okay, the Reds are, but we still have them beat apparently in interest with signing with us. So that's pretty interesting considering we're offering them about $400,000 less. And then I am going to offer Joey Gallo a 1-year, $6 million deal. I can drive it down a little bit if I bump up his role to every day, but I don't even know if he'll slot in every day, so I'd rather keep him at platoon to keep him from getting angry. So we'll give him 1 year, $6 million and see what he can do for us as a designated hitter probably. Actually, nobody's interested in him. I'm going to drop it down to $5.5 million. We still have the highest interested one, and I don't think another team's going to beat us with that offer. I don't think so, at least. At that same rate, I'm actually going to give JD Martinez a contract offer as well. 1 year, $7 million, but with a platoon role so he doesn't get too upset signing for more than he expected. So maybe he'll accept this, I don't know, but his stats were a little too good, and if I'm being honest, I really wanted to have him on the team as we originally had before I made the changes to the roster that we were using for this franchise mode series. So JD Martinez will offer him his 1 year, $7 million contract. He is very interested in that. Another team hasn't really come across the table with one, so maybe we'll drop it down 1 year, $6 million with the platoon role. See if he accepts that. It's really low offer, but we'll see. And you know what, folks? I'm not going to lie. I'm really interested in Pete Alonso. I just don't know where we would slot him in, okay? He doesn't really want to come to Toronto, first of all. I don't feel comfortable giving him 5 years at 30 years old. He's not asking for a whole hell of a lot at 10.9 roughly per year. That's weird for me to say, by the way, as a heavy NHL fan, because 10.9 would be one of the highest paid contracts in the NHL. And I'm saying it's not that expensive, but I might feel comfortable at a 3 year, $31.5 million deal, offering him $10.5 million a season. And if we offer him that, you know, it does put him above the New York Mets offer. But again, we just offered Joey Gallo a contract. We offered JD Martinez a contract. We offered Juan Soto a contract even. We have players like Andrew Vaughn and Murnitaka Murakami, as well as Nico Horner and Vlad Guerrero Jr. So does it feel right to you putting Vlad Guerrero Jr. at third base to bring in Pete Alonso, who I don't even know, he had 105 RBI and 36 home runs. That's freaking crazy. 844 OPS, also crazy. Not saying that he's not worth it, I just don't know if it's a fit for our team. And with that in mind, I am going to withdraw this offer. Okay, you guys might freak out at me, you can in the comments, I accept that, but I'd rather go with what we have and develop what we have, and it could be a really good idea for us to do so. And I'm standing by that decision 100%. I've looked through the roster again. We have Orelvis Martinez as well. We have other options. We don't need Pete Alonso. We don't. I would love him. It would push up our expected competitive rate so fast, but I don't think we need to do it. So I'm going to leave Pete Alonso alone, and we're going to see if we notch these other contracts. And I'm nervous. I'm really nervous, because if we don't, it'll hurt, but we'll see. But now I think there's nothing left to do but to sim ahead and see if we notch any of these players. So I will sim ahead one day here. And the Blue Jays have reached the maximum roster size and cannot sign any more free agents. Any outstanding offers have been withdrawn. Yes, okay. I didn't think of that. Hold on. But we do sign Juan Soto. Holy crap. He didn't even hesitate. A 3-year, $75 million deal has been signed with Juan Soto, and he is now the head of our outfield. Holy crap. That's a lot of players off the board already. Actually, just 4 in Soto, Bregman, Adames, and Hernandez. But we did sign Juan Soto nonetheless, as well as the prospects that we offered out in Ozzie Mesa, Dan Crook, and Frankie Sedino. We also got Matt Strahm, but now I'll have to go through and remove a few players from our roster currently so that I can free up space for the other contracts that we had offered out, such as the reliever Loaziga, Jonathan Loaziga, and I believe, the other first baseman in Gallo, and JD Martinez. Can't forget about him. Okay, guys, I was trying to move on from some players here to free up some spaces. Just Sam Shaw, Gabriel Ponce, and Nick Fraze. And well, see, I did MLB ready. And I mean, Jorge Mateo is one thing, 29 years old, C potential, 77 overall. But Rafael Devers, that was, So I don't know why the Red Sox would want to move on from a 28-year-old, 91 overall with A potential, who just put up 116 RBI and 35 home runs, and is locked up for till almost the next decade, but they do. And another thing is that it does kind of solve the issue where Pete Alonso wasn't really a fit, mostly because of his age and the fact he could only play first base. But Devers kind of fits. Third baseman? Do I make this trade, guys? Do I bring on Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox and make this team a super team right off the bat? I mean, our infield would consist of Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and Nico Horner, as well as Rafael Devers. But if we do it, Munetaka Murakami, nowhere to grow. Orelvis Martinez, nowhere to grow. Even Andrew Vaughn, nowhere to go. We would be locked up. Our infield would be absolutely set in stone. So do I want to make this kind of trade? I don't know. I don't personally think so. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna pass on this. It feels like this is a broken trade mechanic for me. I shouldn't be able to acquire a 91 overall third baseman easier than I can acquire a 25-year-old 84 overall third baseman. That doesn't make sense to me. We are gonna pass on Rafael Devers, and I'm gonna look for a trade that can free up some spaces for us. Instead, I'm going to make a trade moving the same players, Fraze, Ponce, and Shaw, to the New York Yankees for prospect Oswald Peraza, 72 overall, 24 years old, B potential. He can play third, second, and shortstop, and he had a pretty decent season this past season. I mean, not anything great, but he's only 72 overall. I don't mind this. Let's make this quick trade and free up some spots. Welcome to the Toronto Blue Jays, Oswald Peraza. So I believe I freed up 2 spaces with that trade for our roster, and I was originally considering just going back and doing the same players, but we offered 3 contracts out. We can only offer 2 now. So I think Loaziga not going to get a contract this time around. Instead, we'll go for the hitters. So we will give Joey Gallo his same contract again and see if he accepts that 1 year, $5.5 million with the platoon role. And then JD Martinez, 1 year, $7.5 million. $7 million, sorry, with the platoon role as well. And we'll see if they accept those contracts. I mean, I feel pretty good with the money we've spent, and we might not even be done yet, but let's see. So we'll sim a day or so here. Let's go 3 days, and then we'll go back and check. So Martinez hasn't accepted the contract yet, but he doesn't have any other offers out. And Joey Gallo is the same thing. Hasn't accepted yet, but no other offers. So I'm going to keep going here. And Corbin Burns signs with the Giants, a 5-year, $97.5 million deal. So I wasn't really going to jump in for him, but he's off the table. Let's keep going, though. We'll jump to the 16th and we'll take another look. But there's still nothing back from Gallo and Martinez. No other offers for them. So we're going to keep going here and see what happens. Go to the 19th, another few days. We are getting our arbitration eligible players signed up, and we are getting our tendered contracts signed up pretty quick. I think it's just Tiedemann, Peraza, and Mako we're waiting to hear back from. Let's see. It looks like we have signed somebody. It is JD Martinez. He's accepted his offer. 83 overall, A potential at 37, and his stats were crazy. 104 RBI with 45 home runs. Pretty much exactly what Rafael Devers got. So I'm feeling confident with that. We're just waiting on Joey Gallo. Still nobody else offering him a contract yet, so he should sign soon. All right, 40-man is set. Let's see. We're going to keep going here and see what happens. So the Blue Jays have 97 players in their organization. We have to release some players, so I'll have to go through and see what we can do. All right, and I've released a few players. I think we're ready to go, but we do have a trade offer from the Orioles. Let's view this offer. I'm gonna pass. This doesn't mean anything to me. We're not gonna take this one. There are some pretty good players still available in free agency. I mean, Tanner Scott, Pete Alonso, Shane Bieber is available still. They all have contract offers. They just haven't decided to sign them yet, and I'm not sure why. I mean, I could still give Shane Bieber a contract. He looks good, but I feel like this would just push our pitching down a bit. But I mean, Gosman is 34. He is aging out soon, but I don't think I feel comfortable giving $25.3 million a year to Shane Bieber. I mean, if I was going to give him a contract, it'd probably be closer to $24 million, so a $72 million total over 3 years. And we can offer him that, see if he accepts it. I don't know. We'll see. You cannot afford this much of a contract. Oh yeah, no, I didn't even check. Okay, so we are flat out. We can't offer any more money. Actually, I think we're over budget if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, guys, we went completely over budget. I have to make some moves. So you know what, guys? In order to free up some budget, I have to make a move, and it's going to be moving on from George Springer and Jordan Romano. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't realize that George Springer was making $25 million, and we didn't really even play him last year. So with Juan Soto now signed and Kerry Carpenter as well, we don't really need him. And as for Jordan Romano, it's the same kind of thing. We have Felix Bautista, we have Derek Harvey coming up, we have a decent amount of relief pitchers. Yariel Rodriguez was one I was also considering moving out because he is making $6.4 million, and I could just do something as simple as this, where I move out Yariel Rodriguez as well and bring on George Soriano, who's a 26-year-old B potential 73 overall relief pitcher as a replacement, but I feel like that's not the right move to make. If we move on from Yariel Rodriguez, we'll move on from him in a different trade. As for now, this is the trade that I want to make here. I mean, Rodriguez was one of our worst relievers last year. I'll figure that out later, but it will be George Springer and Jordan Romano to the Miami Marlins for starting pitcher Edward Cabrera. Now, Edward Cabrera looks pretty decent. 26 years old, 77 overall with that A potential. Another pretty good option for us. He did have a bit of a rough go with the Marlins last season, but I'm willing to bet that we can turn him around and make him something better. So I think this is a good option for us. And I mean, that way we don't have to go in for a starting pitcher because we'll be adding another star prospect to our rotation. So I'm okay with this move. I'm feeling comfortable with it. Obviously, I would love Yuri Perez. That's not going to happen. In fact, it kind of feels good to be grabbing Edward Cabrera because we were originally supposed to have him. I just couldn't get him back after we switched rosters. So it will be Edward Cabrera joining us. Thank you, Miami, for taking on all that cap for us. So now we have some more room to breathe, but I'm not going to offer out any big contracts here. We have a good starting rotation. We're going to keep it for now. We're just going to wait to hear back from Joey Gallo, who still doesn't have anybody else interested in him. I don't know why he's taken so long to sign. Today is the last day to offer salary arbitration to eligible players, so we'll have to take a look at who still needs a contract for arbitration. It's Cabrera and Pearson. Oh, Lord. Okay. Let me get working on this. So for Cabrera, I'm going to pay him a little more. I'm going to give him 3 years at roughly $3.5 million a year just to make sure that we get him signed. And then just in case, I'm going to submit a $1 million arbitration offer. He was making $740,000 last year. Let's see if that'll come in favor of us. Nate Pearson, I do want to get a contract offer to. I can't believe he hasn't accepted this one yet. I'll just offer arbitration in the form of another $1 million contract, which is pretty close to what I was offering him anyways, to see if he accepts that. So we'll see. We'll have to wait back to see if they accept those. Aside from that, everyone did sign, so let's just keep going here and see if we get Joey Gallo. But Shane Bieber goes to the Royals on a 4-year, $89.6 million deal. So I just didn't think we were in it. He did only sign for $22.4 million, so that's a little interesting to me. And then Clay Holmes, a 3-year, $9.4 million deal with 3-year $9.4 million a year deal with the Diamondbacks. Max Fried also goes to the Diamondbacks on a 4-year $50 million deal, paying him $12.5 million a year. And honestly, I don't understand how Joey Gallo hasn't accepted the offer yet. Nobody else has come his way. But also, Pete Alonso hasn't signed. He's holding out for some reason. I just don't know what it is. We could offer him a contract still. I don't see it making sense for us. So we're going to wait, and we're going to keep going here and see if he finally accepts. We're getting up to the winter meetings. So warning, all players must have contracts tendered by December 2nd or they will become free agents. This includes all players eligible for contract renewal. Let me take a look again. I'm pretty sure I'm comfortable with everyone I was willing to let go of, but I'll take one more look. Yeah, no, I'm pretty comfortable with that. So we're going to keep going here. I will fill in all the gaps that I need to via free agency a little later and bring back players. But let's go up to the winter meetings here. But look at that. Joey Gallo has accepted the Pirates offer of $12 million over 2 years and no longer is considering the Blue Jays offer. I would like to stop simulating. That sucks. I was certain that he would sign with us. I was certain about it. And somehow Pete Alonso hasn't signed yet. And Paul Goldschmidt is still available. He had also a really good season last year with the Cardinals. So maybe I'll just give him that Joey Gallo contract. He's looking for so much more. We're gonna pass on that. I think we've got our contract or our team in place. What's Alonso looking for? $10.9 million. We have the potential to offer $30 million. I'm gonna pass. We're good. So that is that. I think we're good to go. It is the draft lottery. Let's see where we end up. We did miss the playoffs, but I don't think we'll get lucky like that. We actually have the lowest odds for the first pick at 0.2% odds, just missing out on the postseason. I don't know. I don't think we'll get that lucky. Let's see. We're going to simulate this draft lottery here. And there we go. We did not move up. The Marlins retained the first overall pick. It is the Reds moving up 12 spaces to pick second, the Tigers moving up 4 to pick third, and the Angels moving up 4 to pick fourth. The Nationals stay where they are, and then the Rockies, Athletics, and Sox all drop 4. Mariners drop 3, and then the Royals, Mets, Brewers, Guardians, and Cardinals all drop 1 space. But us, the Pirates, the Padres, and the Red Sox remain where we were. But that is it. We just have the Rule 5 draft coming up. We do have a trade offer from the Rockies. Let's take a look. Colin Simpson for Ozzie Meza. No, not gonna happen. Not doing that. Let's go to the Rule 5 draft, and then that'll be it for this video. I don't think we're gonna be picking anybody necessarily in the Rule 5 draft, but we'll see. Let's advance to our pick. And I mean, Chase Davis looks interesting, but I know you have to play them with your team. And I don't know. Jackson Cox looks okay, but not to play with my team this season. I don't think we're in that position to do that. Yasmir Cousin, Maddox Bruns. Yeah, there's some decent pitching prospects, and even Chase Davis could be okay. No, I'm gonna let go. We're not gonna make a pick. There's probably other times that we'll do that, maybe with the other modes that we're doing, but not here. And finally, Pete Alonso signs with the Cardinals, a 6-year $61.8 million total deal. So yeah, I mean, we could have offered him a contract. I didn't see it in the cards for us. And Tanner Scott also goes to the Cardinals on a 6-year $72 million deal. So the Cardinals are adding big at this year's free agency. Wow. Now here we are at the arbitration hearings. Let's see what happens with our 2 players. I believe they signed their contracts though, so we're good to go. Yeah, we are all set to go. I should have checked earlier if we even needed to go to the arbitration hearings, but we do. And then today is the last day to renew contracts for unsigned players who are eligible for renewal. Okay, let me see. Who do we have? Nobody. Okay. We're all good. We're all Gucci Mane here. We're set to sim to spring training, and that's it for this video. I think we had a pretty successful offseason, if I do say so myself. We are now ranked 2nd, 4th in pitching, 2nd in contact, 8th in defense, 3rd in power, but still 22nd in speed, which I don't love too much, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, between videos, I will get the roster set up for us in the lineups and pitching rotation. But you know what? It's looking pretty good. At starting pitching, we have Gausman, we have Berrios, we have Puck, Rogers, Sasaki, Soroka. Now we have Cabrera, we have Bowden Francis, Ricky Tiedemann, Prince Sargent, Brendan Barreria. So many different options. It's scary. Relief pitching, it's Swanson, it's Strom, it's Rodriguez, Kopech, Green, Cabrera, Yasver Zaleta, Nate Pearson, still looking beautiful. I have to obviously add some depth for sure. Closing pitching, we know it's Bautista, and we know it's Derek Harvey. He'll probably get some AAA time or AA time. Catchers, Jansen and Kirk, we got to add some depth there. First base, it's Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Andrew Vaughn. Vaughn will probably switch to third. We'll see what happens. Second base, Horner, Doughty past him. We need to add depth at all positions again. Munetaka Murakami is at third with Orelvis Martinez, who I think I'm going to give more of a shot to Orelvis Martinez, if I'm being honest. Shortstop is Bo Bichette and Oswald Peraza, one of our new additions this offseason. Left field, it is JD Martinez. He'll probably be the DH, but you guys let me know in the comments what you think. We also have Dalton Varsho and Davis Schneider there. Wow, we're strong at left field. Center field, it's Pete Crow Armstrong and Colton Cowser. Again, we can move Dalton Varsho to center field and maybe run JD Martinez full-time. We'll see. And obviously at right field, we have Juan Soto and Kerry Carpenter, and that's actually where our center fielder will come from, is Kerry Carpenter. He'll probably go to the center field. Yeah, so we're all set. Guys, we're all set in my opinion. I love the moves we made. You guys let me know in the comments below how much I botched this episode, though, how much you want to hate this series now. You guys have given me nothing but love and support so far in this Blue Jays series, and I can't thank you enough. I'm just certain that my lack of baseball knowledge and my lack of knowledge at MLB the Show will start to show through as this series goes on. But thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. It only lets me know the type of content you want to see more of. If you really like it, then why not consider subscribing? It only helps me to grow and put out better content for you. And you know what, you can do it on a 30-day free trial basis. If you don't like it after 30 days, you can unsubscribe free of charge. I mean, it's free either way. But thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been a blast. And again, let me know in the comments down below what moves you liked the most in this video, and if you think we should have gone after Pete Alonso. I understand. Or if we should have signed or traded for Rafael Devers. I understand. You let me know why I made a mistake, though. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.